Check. Okay, here we are. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October meeting of the Historic Conservation Commission. I'm Gary Lader, Chair of the HCC, and I would like to introduce the commission. To my left is Jeffrey Long, our Historic Officer and Registered Architect. To my far left is Craig Evans, resident of the district. And then Desiree Strasser, resident of the Mount Airy district. To my right is Todd Chambers, architect with business interests in the district. And to my far right is Mike Simonson, Chief Building Inspector. Ordinance information is the purpose and intent of the City of Bethlehem to promote, enhance, and preserve historic resources and traditional community character for the education, cultural, economic, and general welfare of the public through the preservation, protection, and regulation of buildings and areas of historic interest or importance within the city, which have been determined to be of local, state, or national significance. The way the meeting will unfold is the applicants will be taken in order. After identifying the project address and the presenters, our historic officer will provide a background on the building and any recommendations. At that time, the applicant will present their project and plan. The board will then address the project, allow public comment, if any, and ultimately create a motion to approve as presented, approve with modifications, table the project with clear recommendations, or deny the project with reasons for the denial and changes or improvements which would result in a positive recommendation. For public comment, there is a 3-minute time limit and comments must be specific to attributes of the building only. Speakers are to announce themselves with their name and address before speaking. The HCC is a recommending board, and the results of our meeting will be presented to City Council, and their vote will be binding. Please do not forget to secure your permit from the permit office on the first floor of City Hall before you begin your project. Above all, I remind everyone to conduct themselves in a civil manner and always use a civil tone. The commission is here to help you with your project. We are a group of volunteers who are dedicated to historic preservation and restoration of older buildings in Bethlehem and beyond. If any commission members have a conflict of interest with any of the applications on tonight's agenda, please come forth at this time. No? Great. And then as we call up applicants on the agenda, please sit at the front desk and sign in. And with that, we'll go to our first agenda item, which is 23 East 3rd Street for Crispy Halal.
You come on up to the table.
Yeah. And then again, if you could just sign in and announce your name, and then Jeff Long will begin the narrative.
Hello, my name is Mohammed Ayaz, owner at Crispy Halal.
Welcome, Mohammed. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
So 23 East 3rd Street. This structure is a single-story attached commercial storefront with a flat roof. The stepped terracotta parapet includes scrollwork details, while the terracotta cornice and the side panels feature egg and dart moldings. The sign band is exposed brick masonry. The aluminum and glass storefront was modified in the late 20th century, while large format tiles at the apron and the recess entry were used to replace similar tiles following damage caused by a car in 2012. The building dates from circa 1920 and is classical revival in style. The proposed alterations. The applicant proposes to paint the brick sign band black and install backlit letters on a raceway for the new business, Crispy Halal. Guideline citations are used for my assessment include the Secretary of Interior Standards, number 7 and number 9. I'll just quote them in their abbreviated version. Number 7, chemical or physical treatments, if appropriate, will be undertaken using the gentlest means possible. Treatments that cause damage to historic materials will not be used. And number 9, new additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction will not destroy historic materials, features, and spatial relationships that characterize the property. The new work shall be differentiated from the old and will be compatible with the historic materials, features, size, scale, and proportion, and massing to protect the integrity of the property. the Bethlehem ordinance that Mr. Later read at tonight's meeting, and then also the guidelines for signage specific for the HCC. And I'll quote from that as well. Care should be taken in mounting signs to minimize damage to materials. This could include reusing hardware or brackets from previous signs and also taking advantage of existing mortar joints for installing hardware rather than drilling directly into masonry units to facilitate future sign replacement or removal. Those design guidelines continue that HCC will not recommend for approval sign boxes with internal lights and translucent sign faces. My evaluation, the effect on the district, and recommendations. The certificate of appropriateness application and various supplemental document, or one supplemental document, indicate the intent to install a new illuminated sign within the sign band above the storefront to reflect a new commercial tenant, and also to paint the existing exposed brick sign band. A scale drawing of the proposed signage with an elevation or facade view as indicated on the application is not included, so the application is incomplete. So just to clarify, because I've said this before and some people have come to me afterwards, a computer-generated drawing is not a scale drawing. The application specifically says any signs or changes to the facade require a scale drawing. That helps me to measure, to make sure things work, especially when there are no dimensions. And here we have neither nor. We have no dimensions and we have no scale drawing. So to continue on that thought, the height and width dimensions of the proposed sign, as well as the overall dimensions of the existing sign band, are not indicated, and the computer-generated images are not to scale. So we really need confirmation that the proposed sign actually fits within the sign band, because I'm not able to confirm that. The provided image seems to indicate that the proposed sign is centered horizontally and vertically within the sign band. The one exception is the letter Y in Crispy. The tail of that does extend beyond, but otherwise it seems centered vertically and horizontally. The proposed sign is composed of individual channel letters in bright white color with red shadow details that read Crispy Halal in large, bold, stylized cursive lettering. The channel letters are fabricated from 0.08 aluminum with an overall depth of 4 inches. It's unclear from the supplemental if the channel letters receive front faces. Sometimes we see that they have a front face, especially if they're illuminated. So I'm requesting clarification of that detail. The letters are installed using 3/8-inch bolts into a metal raceway that itself measures 4 inches deep and 6 inches tall, and that is to be anchored into the existing facade using brackets and 4-inch lag bolts. The proposed lettering includes 6500K LED illumination. However, it is unclear if the letters glow internally. That would result in translucent out, especially if there's a face, or if they're backlit. I know the narrative says backlit, but from the detail, it's hard to know. If it's only backlit, that would result in a halo effect. The applicant also proposes to paint the existing exposed brick masonry sign band black in color. The proposal to install a new illuminated sign within the existing sign band and also to paint the existing sign band is inappropriate for several reasons. The HCC traditionally considers bright white color inappropriate within the district. The applicant should consider using ivory or warm white as an appropriate alternative for the bright white letters. The HCC traditionally limits the appropriate depth of dimensional letters within the district to maximum 2 inches, while the current proposal envisions lettering that is 4 inches deep. So discussion is warranted. I specifically use HCC traditionally limits because the guidelines don't specifically call this out. Just over time, as we have seen more and more dimensional lettering, you have used 2 inches as kind of your maximum as a guideline. The HCC traditionally limits appropriate LED lighting to maximum 3000 Kelvin color temperature in satisfaction of the design guidelines to, quote, use low wattage warm light bulbs, end quote. The applicant proposes 6500 100 Kelvin color, and that represents the maximum blue white that's available on the market. So it goes from about 2,000 to 6,500. And yet again, your guidelines predate LED. So you have traditionally interpreted what is in the guidelines, warm lighting, to mean, if we could have quiet, please. If we could have quiet, please. Thank you. This is a public meeting and I want to respect the applicants. Thank you. You have traditionally interpreted that warm illumination to be 3,000 Kelvin. The relevant design guidelines for appropriate signage within the district also indicate there should be no conduits, raceways, or junction boxes visible, while this applicant proposes to mount the letters onto a visible raceway. So from that perspective, the guidelines do specifically state no visible conduits, raceways, etc. So that would mean that that's inappropriate. Your guidelines do offer individual letters that are pin mounted into the existing sign band. So that could be a potential appropriate alternative to what the applicant is proposing. Should the HCC be amenable to this alternative, the applicant should take advantage of the existing mortar joints for all installation hardware rather than drilling directly into the brick masonry units to avoid the need for subsequent repairs when replacing or removing the signage. The letters, if the letters include translucent front faces and they glow internally, you have also traditionally interpreted that to be inappropriate. If they, however, are backlit individual letters resulting in a halo effect, even though the guidelines don't specifically call out this, you over the last few years as a body have confirmed that to be an appropriate approach. So we just need clarification from the applicant about that. The applicant's proposal to paint the existing exposed brick masonry sign band is inappropriate based on the relevant design guidelines, which state, quote, the HCC will not recommend for approval applying waterproof or water repellent coatings on masonry and stucco, end quote. The HCC has traditionally interpreted this guideline to include paint applied to unpainted masonry and stucco surfaces as inappropriate. The supplement to the application depicts signs from the previous tenant that are still installed within the transoms above each storefront window. So we would appreciate clarification from the applicant with their intentions with those transoms. Any new signage proposals within those transoms would need to be subsequently assessed by HCC prior to installation. Similarly, this COA doesn't make, or application, I'm sorry, doesn't make any indication of other signage. So there's pretty much from left to right, full storefront. And oftentimes applicants will include some designs or signage or something in those storefronts. There's also a recessed entrance door. And then there's a shop window to the right of the recessed entrance door. There's no indication of any additional signage. I'm not saying we have to see that now, but I did want to remind the applicant, if the intention is to put anything in any of those windows, we would need a subsequent application so that the HCC can assess those signs as well.
Mhm.
That concludes my assessment.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Well, that's quite a bit, Mohammed. Should we run through things with you and, just make some suggestions? Would you like to comment on anything that Jeff just said?
Sure, a lot has been said, so if we can just do one at a time. please.
Sure, of course.
Thank you.
Why don't we get started with the lettering itself? So we're usually looking for a thinner profile, and I think as far as lighting goes, to me, I think you have two choices. You could either have something backlit by LED, and we're looking for a warmer lighting temperature, or you can have gooseneck lighting from the front. I'm guessing maybe for what you're trying to do, the backlit option might be better. And what I was going to suggest too, I certainly understand, the black background and you want the contrast. Maybe taking, maybe creating a smaller backboard that's black and doing something similar to what was there previously might help you as far as that goes. Because we're trying to steer you. We just won't accept painting all the brick. We'd rather leave that alone. Are you okay with that?
I wanted to clarify something. When I
Sure.
received the email in regards to the agenda of the meeting,
Mhm.
it said the paint was black. With the color print that was given to you guys, it looks black, but it's
Mhm.
not. I was asked to bring a sample of the paint. It's actually peppercorn, kind of like darkish gray color.
Mhm.
Aside from the color difference, that's not black. After consulting with my father, he suggested if you guys feel it's appropriate, the other two options aside from to paint it is to do it's a smooth, even finish of the brick, and then paint over that. That's option number one. The other option was to do it's called a ACM panel with the vinyl of that color, but it's not black. Just wanted to clarify that,
Okay.
and it's going to cover that brick portion. And the reason we saw that was the the building right next to us,
Mhm.
not the Bank of America one.
Mhm.
It's one of the. It's like a gift shop and also a breakfast shop. They have a smooth, even finish on the concrete,
Mhm.
and their color is also gray, like a darkish gray. And considering the tiles that are existing are also gray, so it makes it a uniform look,
Okay.
presentable for us, for the neighbors and us. Even though the color gray is not our brand color, but we wanted to match that and not to disrupt a lot of the other tiles and aluminum that's still there.
Well, we could talk more about that. I also let's talk about a few of the other things. I think maybe we should talk about the lighting first because it's just internally illuminated signs is just one of those things we don't do in the
It's not
district here.
internal. We read the guidelines. My existing store in Allentown has that, but we made sure that it matches the historic guideline. So that's
Okay.
why we requested a backlit, and it's a red color LEDs. I'm not sure why they put 6500. When I read 6500, I thought that was a shade for the red, but if you look in the thing, it says style backlit type LED 6500 color red.
Oh,
So
okay.
so it's
So
red.
I must have misunderstood then.
It's not very clear what they did, I guess.
Okay.
But the LEDs are red color. It's not bright white,
Okay. Makes sense.
and it's not internal. It's backlit, so it
Okay.
hits the wall and then reflects back. Which
Great.
on Third Street, I've seen other restaurant places. That's why I copied that.
Are you okay reducing the depth of the channel letterings to no more than 2 inches?
The thing is, the person that designed it, the company,
Mhm.
I'm not very familiar with how it would make difference if it's a bigger, wider, or it's less deep, or 4 inch or 2 inch.
Yeah.
Um,
It
I
it
do
should be
not have
easy enough just
information.
to
Yeah, we've
tell them
worked
it's a
with this sign
request.
company
Yeah.
before, and they can do a 2 inch. They
Mhm.
might have drawn it for your drawing here, these signs at 4 inches, but they can do a 2 inch.
Okay, does it like aesthetically look different, or is just you cannot see the difference from?
From the street, you won't know the difference.
Okay, if it doesn't make a difference, then I don't see a problem with that.
Okay.
And how do we feel about the raceway?
So the raceway, the existing one, we're going to remove, and then we're going to make the raceway that kind of hides behind the letter. Right now, all the raceway is outside. I don't know how they did it.
Yeah,
Just
it looks like there's 2 steel tubes or something
Yeah.
mounted
Yep.
to the facade.
So that will be removed, and another one that kind of looks uniform, very uniform with the wall in the back, and it's going to be hidden behind the sign.
I mean, I like the raceway because it minimizes the penetrations into the brick. And we're not going to put tons of pin mounts through the existing brick. But the guidelines say that raceways are not permitted, right?
Yeah.
I'm more opposed to exposed conduit and junction boxes.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like we can make an exception for raceway that's done nicely.
Yeah, I think right now it's kind of hard to understand, what we're going to see, in terms of, what's going to be exposed of the raceway.
Yeah, so you can see on the drawing, there's sort of the raceway is
Okay.
indicated there.
Okay.
It feels minimal and well hidden behind the
Yeah.
letters.
It's going to really be like that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, agreed. But the section seems to indicate that that is what we're looking at, right?
Okay. Okay.
If I may add, they told me that the raceway color will be of the same color that the wall is. So
Yeah.
So we don't want you to paint the brick
No.
okay,
at all.
okay,
So I just want to put that out there so there's no
Doesn't matter,
confusion.
We don't want the brick.
okay. So
paint.
that's out of the
Right.
question. Okay.
But I heard what you're asking. You're asking as an alternative, can you put up some kind of aluminum panel that covers all of it, right?
Yes, it's called ACM panel aluminum substrate, and then the vinyl.
Mhm.
The vinyl has the color that we're looking for. So there will be no painting. Rather,
Mhm.
the guy said it's similar to how the metal they use for the gas station and aluminum wrap.
Well, I mean, my first thought on that is, can it be installed in such a way, we're always asking everyone that when you put mounting brackets and so on, you just fasten to the existing mortar joints. And the idea being that if somebody comes along in the future, all the brick isn't all drilled up with holes in it.
I asked him how he would do it. The first option was to do the cement part. He said, "Let's do this," and I said, "How do you install that?" He said, "Those are about 10 foot by I think 2 foot, if I'm not wrong. Those sheets, they screw it into the brick, and then once that is installed, they will vinyl wrap it."
And that's what I'm saying is don't screw it into the.
I'm not
brick if you do
familiar
that.
with it,
Yeah,
so
just,
that's
they should be able to do it into the mortar joint,
motor joint.
if they're careful. Yeah. And
I
I
can
know it
request
takes a
that.
little bit of coordination and measuring things first. So, but we're just trying to come up with a game plan for you right now. I certainly understand what you're trying to do.
My personal opinion sitting here right now is leaving the brick exposed is the least disruptive to the historic nature of the streetscape. So my preference would be let's not cover it up. Let's allow a minimal raceway behind the letters so we still see the brick within that nice frame of the ornate tile facade. I would be comfortable approving that.
Cost effective too.
Right.
And in regards to the paint, we're not damaging. So we're not making any screws. Even paint is not allowed.
Yeah, we generally discourage people from painting unless it was already painted.
Prior to.
We don't allow painting of
Yeah.
masonry.
Yeah, and
Period.
one of the issues is paint generally tends to hold in moisture and cause more damage.
Okay.
We just had a few doors down from you, someone start to paint and we had them stop and remove the paint that they were applying to the facade.
And the raceway itself, then you said minimal. Does it have to be? We can paint that though, to kind of like blend in with the color of the sign itself. Make it minimal as much as possible, and just the raceway itself.
I think so. I mean, maybe you want to consider painting it the color of the brick in this case, but
Okay.
But yes, you could paint the raceway a color, a separate color, because that could be removed from the building at a later time if it ever had to be.
Mhm.
You decide to move to a bigger place or whatever it may be. You could remove that raceway, so you could paint that. It's required that any raceway or any fastening of the signs, the letters, anything like that, be attached in the mortar, not in the brick.
So all the screws and everything for the raceway should be on the mortar, not the
In
bricks.
the mortar, not in the brick.
So it says the raceway is 4 inches deep by 6 inches high and it's attached with 4-inch lag screws, mounted on brick wall with 4 L brackets. So does that mean we have 4 penetrations? I don't know. I don't think that matters. I guess just as long as we're going into the mortar and not the bricks, I'm fine.
Wouldn't it give him the same look as the painted brick as if you were to shrink the crispy hala a little bit and then put it on a I mean, I think you mentioned this as your third option as one of the things you had said about having like a black sign with your white lettering. We haven't gotten there, but sometimes we like a pinstripe
So
get added. But I'm saying like that would give you the same effect of that white lettering on the black background, and you wouldn't have to paint the brick,
and then you have a black
And then you have a
background,
black
which is essentially your
background.
raceway.
which basically
Yeah.
gives you your raceway where you can then bolt it into the mortars where you need to instead of having to like hide the raceway behind the lettering. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
It does. And then would you say like this? So the two ends, the far ends would still be the exposed brick then?
Yeah, you would still see the brick, and it would just be within the sign band on the building. I think we've have other. I mean, you can see other examples of that in the district.
Mhm.
So, I think does that make sense to you, Mohammed? I'm not
I was not very clear about that. I understood the first option where don't paint anything. Raceway should be minimum, and then the bolts should be in the mortar, not the bricks. And we can paint the raceway as we like it, as long as it blends as much as possible. That I understood.
So you guys can help me get the
Yeah.
words right. But a lot of times people come with like a box that their sign goes into, and then that box gets mounted to the black area. The black area here is the sign band on the
Okay.
building itself. You can mount that box, and then the lettering's within that box, and then you can make that box whatever color you want. It just sort of extends outside of the lettering. Does that make sense?
Got it. The box goes onto the mortar on the wall, and then the sign will go inside the box, and then we can do that as a backlit.
Correct. It's just one of
Yeah,
the
I-
options we've seen.
I did think of that. I didn't want to confuse the issue too
Yeah.
much because I think if we want to go that route, unfortunately, I think we need to see
Another.
Another
another
sketch.
revision
Yeah.
I know, I thought
I
about
think
that
we
too.
did.
to evaluate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to ask everyone too, well, Mohammed, the existing sign band itself, do you happen to know this dimension?
Based on the drawing they gave me, the sign guy said 3 foot by 30 foot. I'm not sure if it's clear enough on your thing. I printed
Okay.
it.
Uh,
Even on the sign itself,
Oh,
it
it's
says
in-
3 foot by 12.
Yellow lettering
Yeah, you
on
put
the-
it in yellow.
It's on yellow lettering on the printout.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's why I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, my next question, of course, is, can you shrink the height of the lettering so that it all fits within that sign band, so that, I guess right now you just have the Y kind of dipping into your storefront.
We tried to do that as much as we can, and this is the best option we could come up with. Considering the width of the store is very large. If we had a smaller storefront, then it wouldn't have mattered. But considering our space is big, that's the most we could shrink it to. Otherwise, it's gonna just look like a very small sign.
It seems kind of snug considering it's a 3-foot sign band on the building space is 3 feet and your sign goes to 3 feet. That seems like you could shrink a little bit to make it,
We can
doesn't
probably make it a
extend
little bit
over-
higher, if anything.
yeah.
That also space.
Oh.
And then
Okay.
I don't know how it protrudes past that part of the building.
Maybe because the photo was taken from the bottom, and
Yeah,
generation.
right, because if the raceway gets minimized to 2 inches, it might make it harder to stick out past the building.
Desiree, I think what you're really saying is maybe he could create a backboard that also forms as a raceway and,
Well, it's just an option.
yeah, no, makes sense.
It's a good option because then you could bring that out a couple inches and then put everything behind it and it hides everything.
Yeah, and you can make it black and it will give you that contrast you want. I know it's not going across the whole front of it, but
You'll get the same effect.
Do we have a suggested depth of the sign? Is it, because could he still have the crispy hello like that size, and then on the back could be smaller, then it doesn't have to, I don't know. He doesn't want to make it too small, so
Yeah.
that's where I'm trying to
yeah.
think of how he can keep it the size he has it.
Yeah, I think the back box is going to be about 2 inches at least, right? And then probably 2 inch gap to the letters and another 2 inch. So you're talking about a 6 inch. I mean, it looks like that 2+2 would still enable you to have the Y come down
Right.
the way it does.
And then just so I'm accurate, so then we're suggesting that the raceways be hidden in that box.
right.
Okay, right.
All the wiring is internal to the box.
Are you clear on what we're talking about with the raceway and
I'm more for the first option that was there, not painting it. That makes it
okay, so
simplified.
you'd like really more of a minimal kind of thing that's just
Yeah, otherwise the box.
I
The
mean, I'd
reason-
like to see more of the brick personally, but
yeah.
The reason we came up with this design because my other location was also there, but also on that 3rd Street Historic, there's another restaurant called Sizzling Bites. They had this also on a historic board. They had the gooseneck lights and they have the red LED lights in the back. They have channel lettering. It's exactly how we wanted, and I wanted to go with a similar design because my existing is also like that.
One more quick question. What is the material of the face of the letters?
It says it's called vinyl, not vinyl, PVC. I think it's called
It's
acrylic. Sorry,
It's acrylic, so it's
Glass.
translucent and it lets the light through.
I think they're putting like something in behind the thing.
The red light is behind the entire letter, and the letter is a contrasting color. It's
Oh,
white.
it says, I'm sorry. It says the face is aluminum on that. But yeah, I think
The sides should be
I was
aluminum.
concerned when I saw that the black rectangle on the lower right,
Mm.
that the letters would glow white at night,
Mhm.
and that we don't want.
Right.
But if they're solid aluminum like this says, then I'm okay with that.
We could just do it based on what they said.
Okay.
I'm not very expert in that.
Okay, so I think it's starting to sound like we have some agreement on some things. In other words, you're okay leaving the brick exposed. You're going to have a very minimal raceway that's, I guess, painted to match the brick. Yeah, we understand it's backlit with some kind of red light. I mean, I don't know how much flexibility there is on color temperature when it's red.
No, there's not.
Right? It is, right? Yeah, it just is. It sounds like, yeah, you're okay keeping the depth of the letters to 2 inches. That's just something we got to tell the sign company, do it. Is it okay to, just because it's part of our design standards, is it okay if we keep the sign just a slightly off warm white instead of a bright white? Again, that's just one of those things that's a standard in our district. Are you okay with that?
The reason we did this is because there was already given permission to an existing business that's also on 3rd Street, that's also on historic board. They
Okay.
have bright white, they have the LEDs, they have everything.
So are you talking, which location you talking about?
I have a picture of it if I could show it to you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so that's not the bright white though.
And Sizzling Bites isn't in the historic district.
Yeah.
They're outside of it. Yeah.
Then whatever you guys offer.
Yeah, I would just do an off-white color to the letters and we're good.
Whatever is allowed is fine.
Okay.
But I think we need to see something.
Yeah, I think so too.
before-
You know, what I was going to offer is maybe his sign company can put together a final submittal for approval that's for review between you, myself, and Jeff, if that sounds
That's
okay.
fine, but I just think we need to see
Yeah.
something before
Yeah.
we.
Does that sound okay with you,
Yeah, that's fine.
Mohammed?
And
Just-
then we'll just add goosenecks in there also, I'll tell him, because now,
That's a whole different animal if you want to start adding goosenecks, because then we got to talk about positioning and stuff. You could
Yeah.
do the back lit, like we're saying, it's as long as it's a warm white and not a bright white.
on the gooseneck?
No, on the signs. If you want to backlight the signs, do you want to backlight the letters and put the goosenecks in? Because then we're going to need a specification on what type of gooseneck.
Yeah, I think you want to do one or the other, and
Okay.
from everything you're showing us, it sounds like the backlit's the way to go.
I think
Okay.
the only reason Sizzling Bites had the goosenecks was because they were already there.
We're probably already
and
there,
They just added
yeah.
a sign rather than adding both.
Okay, got it. Okay. There was a question about the letterings also, being it separate.
I don't know, what was the question?
One of the comments was in regards to the letters being separated.
Individual pin-mounted letters. Well, I think in this case,
We bypassed that already.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, you know, that would be, if you weren't mounting it to a raceway, you know,
Be a little
that
bit
would be
different.
a thing to
Okay,
think about,
understood.
yeah. Is there any public comment on this one? No? Okay.
I second your motion, Gary.
Okay, so here's my motion. I'd like to make a motion for 33 East Third Street for Crispy Halal, that we make the following modifications to what was submitted tonight. We're asking for 2-inch thick or deep channel lettering. We understand that the sign is backlit by red LED lighting. It's going to be mounted to a very minimal raceway that is painted hopefully painted to match the brick. The raceway will be installed in such a way so that it's fastened to brick joints and will not cause any further damage to existing brick. The existing brick is not to be painted.
Change the white to off-white.
Yes, thank you. We're just asking for warm white or ivory white for the lettering. We are also asking for an updated sign submission that has the actual size of the sign band and printed in a way we could read it. And I'm sorry. I know there was one last thing I forgot to ask. Okay, let me finish this motion. Okay, I think that's that's everything. And the revised submittal that we're asking for of this will be reviewed by our historic officer, myself, and and Mike Simonson before approving. Okay, and
Second.
thank you. Let's put it to a vote. Craig,
Aye.
Desiree,
Aye.
aye. Todd,
Aye.
and Mike.
Aye.
Thank you. I realize the only other thing that we were being asked from Jeff is, do you have plans right now for the signage and the transoms, or do you want to make that a separate visit, or are you just going to leave it nothing? Are you just going to remove what's there?
What document, what are you asking?
Oh, I'm sorry. So, it looks like
Oh.
there's a bunch of stuff in the
Yeah, so
transoms.
those are
from-
existing. We're gonna do a similar paper style, but it's gonna write platters, gyros, sandwiches.
Okay, so,
Okay, so that has to come back in front of us too. The
Okay.
lettering style and stuff. Anything you're gonna, even vinyl letters, if you're gonna apply them to the windows, that has to come back to us. Hours, anything along those lines.
Okay,
So what
Yeah.
I would suggest you do is make that part of your submittal that we're going to review as part of
Mhm.
this sign.
mhm.
okay. So aside from this meeting, I don't have to wait a month from now?
Just put it in with that, and we'll give you comments on that.
Right.
Whether or not we approve the vinyl stuff is different. We'll focus on the sign, the main banner sign at this time.
Got it.
But at least we can give you comments.
Do I email that to the,
You can email it to me, and I'll circulate it around the board, or you can We'll just, yeah, that's fine if you want to do it that way.
Okay, makes sense.
I think this company's been, I think that sign company's been before us before, right?
Yeah, these
So-
has been around for a while.
So they should
have, like,
know, yeah, they should know what
Yeah,
we're looking
because the
for.
vinyl signs, the vinyl sticker signs and other stuff, this all subject to zoning, so we just can't give you the okay. You're only allowed a certain percentage of window coverage and certain things, and there's rules that come in other than the historic rules. So, so we need to review all that prior to giving
Okay.
you the okay.
Okay, anything
That all?
else you wanted to ask, or do we?
No,
give you-
that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
And you'll
Thank
get
you,
a
too.
copy of this decision that you could pass to these signs as well, so they can sculpt the new drawing per the specifications that we gave.
Okay, if you can give me that.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Do I have to stay or I can leave?
No, you can go.
All right. Have a
Yes.
good evening. Thank you.
The dance
You're,
party.
you're welcome to stay if you want, but,
No, I have to leave.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we're ready for 1436 West Third Street. Did I give the wrong address? I think that's you guys, isn't it?
I thought we were third on the end.
No.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
He's going to submit for next month.
Okay,
So they're going to do a whole new facade, I guess.
All right.
That's what I was talking
oh, and I'm sorry, please remind me your names again, even though we've met so many times. I apologize.
Of course, Tony Seitz with High Associates.
John Snavely with the Greenfield Architects.
Good to see you again, Tony and John.
Good to see you.
14 through 36 West 3rd Street. Building description, period style, and defining features. This proposed 8-story hotel structure will include a series of entry-level glass storefronts with awnings at the front or north facade facing West 3rd Street, and also at the rear or south facade facing the Greenway. 6 upper floor levels will include brick as well as paneled facades. Admittedly, this comes from previous assessments that might change as we move forward. And those panel facades are both brick and panel facades are punctuated by sets of windows that are organized according to hotel room layouts. A rooftop terrace with bar will complete the uppermost floor level, while a single-story porte cochere or a carport at the western end of the site will serve as the main drop-off location for passenger vehicles. As a reminder, the HCC is mandated with preserving structures dating from the designated era of the Historic Conservation District, which ranges from circa 1895 to 1950. Thus, when completed, this contemporary building will not be considered significant to the district. Proposed alterations, the applicant is returning to the HCC for review and recommendation of approval on the following items: a rooftop outdoor seating area, pergola, and glass railing. That's all on the uppermost floor. The applicant is also requesting consideration of alternative proposals for facade materials that were previously determined by the HCC as appropriate. Those include brick, I'm just going to keep that in general terms, porte cochere finishes, and precast items. So the guideline citations I used for my assessment include the Bethlehem ordinance that was cited by Mr. Later at the beginning of the meeting, as well as the Historic Conservation Commission design guidelines. And I'll just quote from very key or specific components because that's multiple pages. Specifically, new construction are pages 8 through 12. Within those pages, it states HCC encourages new construction that, quote, preserves the cohesive ambiance of the Historic Conservation District with compatible, sympathetic, and contemporary construction, matching the setbacks of the adjacent buildings on the streetscape, and having compatible siding, proportion, size and scale, form, and here key materials, roof configurations, details, and finishes, end quote. New design should also address such concerns as shape and massing, rhythm and patterns, window and door openings, here yet again materials and textures, architectural details, as well as streetscapes. There's also a supplement to those design guidelines concerning storefronts. I referenced that as well. My evaluation is short for a couple of reasons. The application was submitted to the planning department on October 3rd. That was 5 business days after the deadline for tonight's meeting. I also did not receive the materials until another 5 working days. And then, just to put it bluntly, I left the very next morning on international business and just came back. And I'm required to do my assessments, submit them by the Thursday before tonight's meeting. I received it at 5:25 on that Friday afternoon. So collaborating with the planning department, it was agreed that I would offer a very limited assessment due to my limited access to these materials. So I'm not going into specifics like I usually do. I'm welcoming more of a discussion together with the applicant. I did my best to just understand beyond their narrative what we were to be taking a look at. And I offer the following. My cursory review of provided materials. The applicant seems to be approaching the ACC with requested revisions for select details captured within previous certificates of appropriateness. So I didn't go back and count how many certificates they've already received, but they're coming back. They can perhaps clarify why, to request revisions to materials that were already approved. It seems to be, again, requesting clarification. Real brick and cast stone to be replaced with brick and stone veneers. That seems to be one of the, again, cursory, based on my cursory review of the materials. They also are proposing different treatments for the porte cochere. I honestly did not have time to go through all the previous submittals to understand exactly what those revisions are, but I entrust them to walk us through those revisions. The applicant also proposes a modular structural system with integrated louvers and lighting to serve as a permanent rooftop pergola that extends from the recessed bar to the front facade facing West 3rd Street. It should be noted that the HCC previously considered similar rooftop proposals at a few nearby project sites, and during those reviews, your general assessment was those were inappropriate. And tended to result in a compromise whereby the applicant was amenable to some kind of retractable or removable awnings that did not fully extend out to the front facade. Your concerns at that time were extending things all the way out to the front facade simply creates a full story, where previously the applicant agreed with the compromise to recess the rooftop back so that it's not visible from the front of the from the streetscape. You have in the past also placed usage limits, seasonal limitations to such retractable or removable awnings, say, I think from the first day of spring or something like that to the first snowfall, and that they would be removed at that point. The supplemental details also offer more specifics concerning the proposed glass windscreen system at the rooftop parapet facing West 3rd Street. I couldn't find a confirmation of their preferred height, but the details say that the system they're proposing ranges in height from 6 feet to 8 feet tall. So based on those and perhaps more specifics by the applicant, I summarized my assessment stating that a discussion with the applicant is warranted before the appropriateness of any of the requested revisions can be determined.
Okay, well, please walk us through the revisions. I assume there's going to be some samples for us to look at.
There are, and I want to thank you again, members of the commission, for hearing us again tonight and working with us on this project. And I apologize that the review went into Jeff after the date. We thought we had that, and I don't think we missed a date up to this point, but there was evidently a breakdown. So I do apologize for that. I think we can walk through these though reasonably efficiently and give you a feel for what we're proposing and what we'd like to do. Really, the changes that we're going to talk about tonight are the changes to approved certificates relate, as Jeff mentioned, to the exterior facade and the porte cochere. And then, of course, we also want to talk to you about the rooftop. We've been discussing that before. I will note that the windscreen is not 6 to 8 feet tall as proposed. It's 4 feet tall as proposed. So we did hear you. Last time we heard the desire not to create in effect, enclosed space or a feeling of enclosure, and that windscreen was reduced. We've also scaled back the coverage of the pergola at the rooftop. It is a mechanically operated pergola that has louvers that can close and open depending on the season, and we think it's a really good accommodation to what will be activated at the rooftop. We're really excited about that rooftop space. I will note that there is another Tempo in the U.S. in development right now in the city of Savannah, and it's in a historic district. And if you look at the renderings for that building, they've got a full canopy over their rooftop. They also have a rooftop. And that is in Savannah, and I think that project is a 26 project. But we're not here to talk about them, but I did want to give you a feel for what else is happening. So in terms of why we're here talking about certificates that have been approved, we've gone through about 4 rounds of pricing on this project, and as I think you can appreciate, we're in that really pretty dark place on construction pricing at this time, and that's felt across asset classes. It's particularly felt in hotels, and it's felt in a hotel of this caliber, basically a high rise on a tight urban footprint that's steel framed. And we're building a quality project here, and at every stage of pricing, we've taken a hit. The most important ones were really what happened between our schematic pricing, which we got in February of this year, and what we had hoped would be our GMP pricing, our guaranteed maximum pricing that we received in August of this year. Between February and August, when the scope of the project was fully defined with the rooftop, with the exterior cladding, with the porte cochere, all the elements that you've heard about these many months, we basically experienced a 17.5% increase in construction pricing. It's just not, it's really not a sustainable place to be. And at the same time, we continue to really look at the market and what's happening in the greater Lehigh Valley market, a market that we believe in. That's why we're here. We're excited to be in Bethlehem, but the reality is there's been a fair amount of supply in the last couple of years. And RevPAR, which is a real metric for hotel revenue, has gone down significantly in the last 2 years. So we're being hit on both ends with construction pricing and anticipated revenues. It's a tough spot to be, but we believe in this market, and we are working hard to deliver a project that we all can be proud of and that we believe in. So the bottom line is, I'm going to let John, I said we'd do this efficiently, and I want to get to the detail, and John will take you through what we're talking about on the exterior, what we're on the facade, what we're talking about with the porte cochere, and then we can go up to the rooftop and talk about those items. So we'll walk through them in an organized manner, and at the end of the day, what's really important and what we heard from you and what we really want to do in delivering this project is something that's going to be special for the city. And we believe that the changes are not going to cheapen in any way the appearance, the architectural appearance of this building. and they would allow us to continue to maintain the kind of finishes inside the building, have the appearance on the exterior that are really going to help sell this project and position it where it needs to be. We wouldn't come in here if we felt we were doing something to detract from either the appearance or the performance of the building envelope. So that's really important to us. The final thing I want to mention is, we're on a tight sort of path here. We've been at this for a while, and John and his team on the design side are galloping towards basically a permit set, a 90% set of drawings that will be completed at the end of this month, priced in November. And then we will get a revised GMP at the end of November and anticipate a board presentation, our board, in early December. And we hope to get a go and be moving at that point. So I just wanted, in terms of context, we feel that's the pricing window that's going to be most advantageous in this pretty challenging environment to allow us to move forward. John.
I'll walk us through the facade changes that we're proposing first. Get some feedback from you guys if that's okay, and then move on to the portico share and then the rooftop. So, like Tony said, we've spent some time during the last round of pricing just really looking at ways we can bring the cost down on the building without changing the overall look and feel of the building. So what we're proposing, we haven't changed the massing or really the rhythm of the building at this point. We're just looking at some alternative building materials. We're still doing a brick and large format masonry, veneer at the bottom, brick above. We do have those 2 stories of ephes that we've talked about previously. But we still think we're sticking to the original aesthetic that you guys have approved previously. Rather than a traditional full depth cavity wall masonry system with the brick, we're looking at a thin brick veneer as well as a thin veneer masonry for that ground face units. The colors that we presented previously for the ground face units, and I have those with us, are the same colors. It's the same shape and size. So really the only thing we're changing there is the actual depth of the material. The brick veneer, we are looking at a different brick color than what we had previously come to you guys with. So I have that sample here. We still have banding at the floor levels. We were proposing that as precast banding previously. Now we are proposing a light colored brick, 2 courses of brick there to get that banding. So we're looking at light color brick there for that banding. I have a sample of that as well. The precast elements that we have on the first floor level, we are looking at a thin cast product. So it's not a full depth precast unit, but there's some insulation, some foam behind that, still an outer precast shell on that. Again, I have a sample of that. It's the same color and the shapes will be the same that we've come to before. On the upper floors, the 2nd through 7th floor and 8th floor at the rooftop, we are proposing for the heads and sills there would be an ephes shaped product that would match the color of the precast. It would be the same profiles that we've suggested previously, but that is the material that we're suggesting there as well. So those are the items, at least on the building, that we're looking to change. I think when we get into the portico share, I'll walk you through the changes that we're looking at there with the materials and the configuration of the portico share. So I'm happy to pass around samples so you guys can see what we're suggesting.
John, I'm wondering if I heard you right. It sounds like you have a thin brick veneer, the lower levels, and then you're doing an ephes brick at the upper level?
No. The portions that were originally ephes remain ephes.
The ephes
Okay.
is the gray.
Is the gray.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
And that's already been approved.
Yep.
So on the field brick, this was
Yeah, just fine.
This was the original product that we brought in front of you and
Looks great.
approved. I know. This is the alternative that we're looking at
Okay.
right now. So trying to stick to the same color palette and feel. It's not, not quite as deep a tones there.
So there's really cost savings between those?
Substantial.
Oh, okay.
And
Substantial.
the one you're proposing is on a panel or is individually
Individually
applied?
Applied, individually
Okay,
applied.
so unit by unit.
unit by unit, we'll still have have traditional mortar
And-
in between the bricks.
That just surprises me that you gained the advantage out of that.
Did.
Yeah, it's crazy what the traditional brick
Both Glengarry.
house.
What kind of gain back did you get from the 17.5%? Just kind of ballpark. What are you able to achieve by making some of the substitutions?
This particular substitution will help us claw back over $1 million on the exterior facade. It's substantial. It's not something I can turn from without kind of opening all the books and
Yeah.
revealing. But we can claw back. We can claw back almost. Well, I shared with you the figure on the exterior facade. So this particular item, going to the thin brick and the other elements that John mentioned, is north of $1 million. It's
Okay.
1.1 million.
Thanks.
What are my biggest concern with thin brick is the details. What is our offset between the face of the brick and the window frame? Because we're going to sacrifice probably 3 or 4 inches of depth between those two planes in a traditionally done detailed thin brick.
So that we're going with a flanged window that would be set behind our insulation. We have 2.5 inches of insulation outboard of that, and then the thin brick veneer is applied to that.
So what I'm hearing is we're still going to maintain approximately a 3-inch reveal between the face of the brick and the face of the window frame.
More or less, yes. Yeah.
So you'll use corner units
And I have,
at the window jams. I would have loved to have seen some of these details
I was
because it
gonna
would
say,
have
I do have.
helped me understand it. Yeah.
We're still working through those details as we're
Okay.
working through. I did print these out. Kind of maybe show our hand a little bit here, but.
Oh, thank you.
Detail on the left.
So that's a
And-
plus or minus 2-inch reveal then?
No, so they're projecting the sill and head further than the thin brick. So we'll still achieve some additional
Correct. With-
depth to the facade
with-
that way.
Yeah, going with the EFIS, the foam shape, we're able to still get that depth and mimic, your traditional precast and get that look.
Okay. All right, please continue with your colors.
No, that's a good question. This is the lighter brick that we're proposing for the vans. I see it at floor level.
Are you going to run that horizontally or soldier course?
We're gonna do two courses.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Basically, this two samples of the same thing, but
Mhm.
what we're doing at the ground level with the thin.
I mean, it's still the same material from the outside.
Exactly.
It's
Still
gonna be the-
hard.
Yep.
So it's kind of like a cast
It's a
stone,
cast stone, yeah. You can do
it's
it.
just not a solid
Yeah,
piece.
it's just the shell, not the whole.
Okay.
John, do you have a mortar color?
It's the same mortar that you guys had approved previously.
Okay, is that it in there?
Just-
Okay,
talk
okay.
about
It's a
that.
traditional portion.
We don't need to talk about that.
No, I'm good. I just,
Yeah, we're not changing.
That's fine.
And then
Gary.
this is not the
Mike got
color.
to send
I
it to
can't
see.
get the color yet. We're gonna match the precast color that you guys see there.
For-
But just,
okay,
an
good.
example.
Okay.
okay.
And not even, obviously not the profile we're looking at, but as in Celsius, but just
Great.
And where's
I-
that located at?
That'll
Up
be
top.
the window heads and sills.
Okay.
So, if you look at it, you know, this detail here.
Okay.
Those shoes.
That's that, or that's
No,
the
that's
ephes.
the
I got it.
ephes. Yeah, we're doing that at the band between the first and second floor and all of the bands that happen on the first floor.
Okay.
So everywhere where it's
Close
public-facing
to,
and
yeah,
close to the
great.
public and touch.
Mhm.
And are you still using the solid masonry, monumental masonry on the base, or is that going to be a material like this as well?
It'll still be the same
Solid.
solid. It's just a thinner veneer.
Yeah,
Same
got it.
depth almost
Okay.
as the thin brick veneer. I think this is slightly.
Probably, yeah.
Is there one color of that or three colors of that? Just
So one of these colors is the same color as this.
Okay.
Abandoned color. And then the other two colors, there's two colors on the bottom. If you look at the renderings, there's a dark, there's a dark.
Oh,
red
okay.
here,
Okay.
And then the lighter color.
I got you. Okay.
And we have a band.
I
at
see
the
it.
top.
Yeah, I see it.
It's the darker color.
Okay.
And what are those two items there?
These were the veneer, the ground base veneer colors that we had
Okay.
presented to you previously.
Okay. I have a thought, but keep going. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's for the building facade changes. I don't know if you guys have any other questions or thoughts before we move on to the porte cochere.
Can you, do you have a sample of what the ephes panels are? And like that shows the actual proposed color?
Did we look at that at
I
one of the
don't have-
previous meetings?
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't have that with me because we had gotten that approved at the previous meetings. It's
Well,
it's a dark-
okay, here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I wish you keep, it kind of looks like a dark gray. I wish you keep it closer to the cast stone, more like more like a buff color, because I think it would, I think the building looks a little menacing with that dark gray up there. And even that brick, that like the cast stone color, that buff color looks pretty good. Yeah, I wish you'd go more in that direction for the lighter color brick and for the ephes too. Can you consider that? Especially since we're talking about all these, minor tweaks and changes. How's everybody else feel about that? I keep thinking of the existing building on the corner with all those gray panels, and to me, it almost looks like a battleship. I wish I just wish we're always talking about warmer colors, ivory colors here. I'm just going to encourage you to think about that.
But you think with that being such a light, like battleship gray, for lack of a better term, you think the darker is a better choice?
I'm actually saying they should go lighter. I'm saying they should make it more like a buff kind of, like a cast stone color.
Match the cast stone base.
Yeah, I would love to see it. I would just love to see it played down a bit. I think it would help reduce the massing and make the building look a little friendlier.
So it would match the rows as well, the bands.
Yeah.
More similar to that color?
Well, let me grab that. Yeah, let me see cast stone.
Yeah.
So this is what you want us to accept, right?
This is the cast stone. This is the lighter ground base color. Yeah.
So, they're kind of, I'm sure there's like a buff color that's a little warmer than for all these things. I mean, what?
And that's what we're using for those three cast bands.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, the thought with this brick was we were trying to get something close to this back color.
Makes sense. I like that. I would say do the same thing for this, but again, putting it out there for discussion.
Gary, what were you?
I'll be honest, the darker color ephes is somewhat similar to, it's maybe slightly darker than this, but it's pretty close to the tone of the dark ground face that we selected. So I know,
Yeah,
obviously, Gary, you're suggesting maybe they go a little lighter, but
I'm suggesting you follow what you're doing on that buff color. And again, like, the only way we can react to it is to see it. And I'm just looking at the renderings right now, and that dark gray up there, it just looks kind of menacing to me. And I think it would just look like a friendlier building if it was lightened up.
Would you say that the dark gray of the ephes is similar to the color of the cornice that's down below? Like you have your sample here, that's the wrong color, but you were just showing us, or the profile. I couldn't remember whether it was the color or if it was the profile that you were showing us on that sample.
really this is neither the profile or
Oh,
the color.
okay, never
It was
mind
just
then.
an example of
Never
the
mind.
It's kind of project.
I wish you hadn't brought that, yeah.
Confused.
Yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say, because if the dark gray is that, it looks nice with the brick, but I was gonna say, 'cause you have, the brick is lighter now than it was. It was like a brighter,
It is,
redder
yeah.
color.
Where's the ground face?
That's at the lower level.
It's like, is it the bottom, say 4 feet, the water table along the lower
The
level?
bottom 4 feet is the darker ground face, and then
Yeah.
above that's the lighter.
Got it. And the ephes is similar in tone to the
To
darker.
the dark, yes.
Yeah. What do you think of that, Todd? Doesn't bother you?
If I were to pick one right now, I'd say I think the lighter would probably be my choice, but it's not my building. And I don't feel that strongly. Yeah.
Yeah, but we are here, since it's a permanent color, we are here to, help them with those kind of decisions.
You wonder, you have that one like dark brick on your example that you're showing here, the sample. Is that indicative of what will show up? Like
Yeah, there will
periodically
be,
you'll
there
get
will
like
be
one
variation
dark brown.
throughout.
Okay.
Want
I
that.
don't know with
Seems
In the band course with the lighter brick veneer, the mortar in that is non-contrasting. It would match so that
yeah, we would carry the traditional
Mortar.
Portland cement mortar throughout at both the field and the lighter accent.
I guess what I'm asking is, you'll see the contrast of the mortar and the darker brick.
Yes.
If the mortar matches in the lighter band, then there's no contrast. It's a textural thing as opposed to.
Correct. And part of what we were doing there, originally we had that as a precast element. So having the light brick and the light mortar, we wanted that to all read as one band without.
As a band, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what my question was, to make sure that that's how you envisioned that.
Correct. Yep.
The grade to me, I mean, you're right. It's our building. We've spent a lot of time on this. It doesn't telegraph as oppressive to us. If it did, we'd have ditched it a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was approved. John, what are you thinking? I mean,
Honestly, no, we've looked at some different things. I think we landed on the gray and we were pretty happy about it. I feel like the light might be too light, but
Oftentimes we're suggesting to do things lighter because, we've been granting you a much taller building than we usually do. And sometimes we're just looking for ways to help reduce the size of it. And I feel that that's something that could help. But again, I'm looking for some comments from the rest of the board here too.
I worry the lighter might make it look real stripy.
Yeah.
Make it real like contrasty, and whereas the brick and the darker, at least in the rendering, it's hard to know.
I have
from, like,
a
actual-
sense that there is a more of a strength to the, you were saying intimidating. I don't see it as intimidating. I see it as a stronger building.
Okay.
So I don't have as much problem with making it change. We're not changing the color as much.
Okay. Great. That's enough feedback to, I would say, hey, let's start talking about the porte cochere, I think, if
Yeah.
Good.
everyone's okay
Let's do that.
So on the porte cochere, we've kept the same style that we had previously that you reviewed. We did pull the footprint back slightly, and we disconnected the porte cochere and that main entry canopy, and pulled the main entry canopy back a little bit too. So you'll see on the plans, the porte cochere, there's only one column now towards the front of the entry rather than two. So like I said, we pulled that back and adjusted things a little bit. The shape and the coverage and overhang at the drop off there is still the same. The materials on the porte cochere, so on the column surrounds, previously we had the masonry base with a metal panel above it. We've changed that to match the building, so we have the same masonry base with the brick above it to the underside of the porte cochere. We had a wood look metal panel on the underside of the porte cochere. We are looking at a wood look ephes finish that would match the color of the metal panel that we had selected previously.
An ephes.
Yep.
Wow.
Now
It's a nice looking
That's not visible from the right of way, right? That's underneath.
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 Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to
Okay.
make sure.
I never would guess you could do that in ephes. Wow.
And my next question is, while you're here, quick. So this is no longer here then?
Okay.
These connection points?
pretty
That's what you're saying, that these porte cocheres?
Yes, they do not. Yeah, they don't touch.
Okay.
In those elevations, it's still because of the perspective.
Right,
looks like
right.
they
It
do,
looks like it,
yeah,
but
there
there-
is
but
no connection.
there's- okay.
Is that a field
I think
applied
it's the
finish or is
underside
it?
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, like a soffit.
Yeah, okay. Sorry.
They're all very important.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah.
So there was a question, where exactly?
That's the underside of the porte cochere.
That's off it.
John, is that the actual finish?
Yes, that's the
Okay.
color and
And is that similar? I don't remember what we saw last time. Is that similar?
it is similar.
Okay.
The same wood tone.
Okay.
I was looking at I apologize. I was looking at the exterior elevation drawings, and it appears that the porte cocheres is still attached to the building, but it's just the view I'm looking at. So it is now separate
That's correct.
from the building. I just wanted to confirm that.
And the fascia of the porte cochere and actually the main entry canopy, we had metal panel there as well.
Sorry.
Attached onto a trench gate, so we're doing an ephes metal panel, metal finish look there as well. This is not the color. This is just to give you the texture.
Mhm.
This is the color that we had presented previously. This is the color that we are proposing. And then on the main entry canopy, the same thing.
Okay. This is proposed, and this is the new color.
Yes. Yep.
So to the right
Yeah,
side.
so the metal chips were what we had presented previously that year.
Where are the?
That's on the fascia of the
Fascia,
porte
all right,
cochere
thank you.
and the entry.
Sorry, I'm not an architect. What is a porte cochere?
That's the covering over the
Car
drive
part?
aisle where the
Okay.
drop off there.
Fancy when you say pick up and drop off.
I thought so, but I was just
Yeah.
making sure.
Like Tony was saying, it's that
Four-post
that
bed
element.
on the side of your house that you drive your
Yeah.
your
Okay.
buggy up under.
Who's the manufacturer of this product?
Master wall.
Master Wall. Okay.
Oh,
So it's an acrylic coating.
Yeah, it's,
Yes.
dry.
Okay.
And we did, I know Mike, you had it there, but we did submit the
Yeah, it's here.
specification on that
Which
that
color?
finish.
Which was the new color? They're changing it or no?
Oh, they're changing the materials,
Just, okay.
right? I think you're just changing the materials, but same color.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the colors that you have there.
Yeah, we couldn't
those
see
were
the explanation, so.
Yeah, so these were the colors that we had approved previously in the metal panel,
Oh, I
and
see.
these are the colors
Yeah,
that
where's it?
we're looking to change it to.
Oh,
So
okay.
we're
Oh,
trying
oh,
to-
okay.
But on the
I
large
see.
square material.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, yep, this
This
is
format.
a sample of the finish, and then those would be the colors that we're.
John, how is the finish applied? Is it one sheet? Is it?
It's field applied.
Oh, okay.
So
Take a smooth stucco.
I gotcha.
Yeah, they do their initial base coat and then come back and
So really, what we're talking about, this band here becomes stucco? Is that what we're talking
Yes.
about?
Yep.
Okay.
in the dark color and then
With that finish.
the copper bronzy copper color.
Okay.
on the
Okay.
face of that.
John, that's a fine finish on that fascia,
Yes.
which you showed that large panel there, which we were pretty pleased at. Harder to achieve on larger surfaces, more expensive, rather. But on this application, this particular area, we feel it's going to be a really nice result. Happy with that finish. Candidly, the soffit look too, I like it as much as the metal panel or more.
So
And I certainly like the savings.
what is for the vertical surfaces of the canopy and the porte cochere, where we're applying this metal look? What's the substrate? Are we using foam and
Yes.
whole nine, and
Yeah. So it'll
you
be.
can do some reveal joints, and it's not
Yep.
going to be a
It won't. Yeah, it won't be just a solid flat surface. Our goal is to mimic the metal panel look, not too different than trying to mimic the metal panel look up on the upper stories. So yeah, we'll have a minimal foam insulation there that we
Because
can.
I imagine just for the length, you want to get joints in there to reduce the chance of cracking and all.
And then you're mimicking boards for the soffit,
Correct. Yeah.
right? So you're going to have
Yeah, we'll
reveals
have
every
reveals
8
there.
inches or whatever, or what's the width?
I think we were looking at 10 inches, but yeah.
Okay. And tell me about the detail between the boards. What are we able to achieve, right? Is it a V groove,
It's
right?
yeah,
Is
it's
it a-
essentially it's a V groove that'll give you the appearance of
Individual.
tongue and groove boards. Okay. And the lengths, we'll have lengths. I think we're looking at about 10 feet, and because when it's field applied, they're doing it from scaffolding area, so really you're kind of limited to that board length of what a person can reach. So otherwise, they try to move it, and the pattern's not going to line up. So we'll be looking at like about a 10-foot board length.
So on your reflected ceiling plans for the porte cochere and the canopy, we're going to have this metallic finish wrap underneath a dimension, right? That's what I'm seeing here with the border around those two.
Yes.
Call it 6 to 8 inches, whatever. And then the lines that you have going across those represent the joints that will wrap up the face of the
Correct.
canopy,
That's
Right.
correct. Yep.
face of the canopy edge.
Yes.
Okay, I'm comfortable with that.
How about in terms of longevity? There must be a difference in how long one this ephes finish holds up versus what you were proposing before.
Yeah. So we have had conversations about that. The Master Wall, I believe their warranty is 25 years. They're saying it should hold up for 30 years, but obviously
Okay.
it's only warranted for 25. But
Is there a maintenance regimen for it, or other than just cleaning, surface cleaning, or?
no, it's just you would clean it the same way you clean a traditional ephes finish.
That Master Wall's the entire facade of a hotel, recent AC in Newtown Square. Really nice property that would be comparable to a Hilton Tempo. They used it as their entire facade on that building, a major, really, really nice looking hotel in Newtown. Good product.
So last time, I think we approved EFS on the upper levels of this building, and we had a specific rationale, which I'm trying to remember, because we don't usually approve EFS on buildings in our district. And I think part of the rationale was maybe one is
It was above contact.
yeah, yeah. Maybe that, and, after all, it's a non-contributing building, but no, I don't know if that's was part of it at all. I'm just trying to think if any of that rationale applies to what we're seeing today.
I think one of the things that we have to face is that the EFS that we're dealing with is different from the EFS that probably promoted that revulsion in the first place. So that, it's a different product.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know we've always been concerned about just it's a tendency to get dirty and you can't clean it, but I agree. This seems like it's a little bit of a different animal.
It's a different product.
At what level does the EFS start on the building itself?
That would be on that middle section and the end where it's next to the Zest building. That would be the 6th floor where the
Okay.
gray EFS starts.
And then it's not on, it's only on the surrounding portion of the porte cochere and the underneath portion, right?
Correct.
The fascia
And the
soffit.
fascia, yeah. So it's on the fascia of the porte cochere, and the soffit of the porte cochere. It's also on the fascia of the main entry. That
And what's the height on the porte cochere?
it's 17 feet. I believe.
17 feet.
16 feet. Sorry about that.
Thanks. Well, should we move to the next part of the building now? Is there anything else on the porte cochere?
No, we can move to
Okay.
the rooftop if you guys are good with that. So on the rooftop, I believe the last time we had come in front of your group and discussed that, I know we had some conversations. I think the main concerns we heard were that it starts to feel like another enclosed story along the edge of the street there at that outdoor seating area. So I believe last time we were here, we were looking at a 6 to 7 foot high railing and potentially covering the entire seating area with the pergola. So we have reduced the height of the railing to 4 feet. I believe the specs say 6 to 8 feet, but it'll be 6 feet tall from the roof. There's a 2 foot difference in the roof to that floor level, so it's 4 feet tall above the floor. The pergola itself, we're covering approximately 2/3 of the seating area, so it's 73 feet overall in length. We're covering 43 feet right now. The sides are open with the exception of the side closest to the what I'll call the entry tower there. We do have some screen wall material there. There's an RTU between that, on the roof area between that and that tower. So we do have a wood look screen wall on that side of the pergola just to screen that view. But the other sides we would keep open. And then as Tony mentioned, it's mechanically operated louvers that do open, when weather permitting. And
On
then
the top,
on the
top.
yeah.
sides don't
The
open.
sides don't.
No, the sides are open.
So, go ahead. Did I interrupt somebody?
I was going to
ahead,
ask
Greg.
a question.
No, go ahead.
What is the material of the pergola? Is that steel?
It is. It's a metal pergola. It's steel.
It's aluminum.
It's a.
I'm
it's
sorry, aluminum.
Yeah, it's
Aluminum.
And would its color be similar to what's represented in the drawings here?
Yes.
Because one of the things that we've looked at when we have examined some of these taller buildings with appurtenances on the roof is that their color be a little bit more sky-like and a little bit less contrast.
Okay.
So as not to call attention to the additional height.
Understood.
We face a lot of pushback in the community as to building heights. And you certainly have the option of going higher, but I think it's important that we take that into consideration so that if you're going to put something up there, it shouldn't have a stark contrast.
That's understood. And we can explore, the color finishes there to come up with a lighter color that would be more, blend into the sky a bit more. I think.
I mean, it's not going to disappear,
Right, but it'll be
we don't
be
want to
lighter.
call
and-
attention to it.
Yeah. We went the finish that we went with was similar to the EFIS color that we have up there at that level. So that's where we landed on that color. But I understand your point. We could certainly look at something that provides a lighter color, lighter finish, so it doesn't stick out.
So that the glass railing, let's call it, is 3 feet above the parapet.
Yes.
No,
It's-
4
yeah,
feet
it's-
above the walking surface of the roof patio, but that is a foot below top of parapet. So
Correct.
that glass extends another 3 feet above the parapet. And judging from your perspectives that you've shown here in your exhibit, it is virtually unseen from the sidewalk below.
Yes. And that edge of that glass is set back behind
Correct.
the parapet.
Yeah.
How far back is it set from the parapet?
I believe it's 9 to 12 inches. I don't.
Okay, so how far back is it from the building?
From the back edge of the parapet, from the front edge.
Yes, from the back edge. So from the front edge, it's an
2'6"
Okay.
ballpark. So let me ask you this.
yes.
The wood look panels you have, or are they louvers or panels on that western wall between the rooftop unit and the pergola?
They're panels, but they're perforated panels, so they're
Okay.
almost like they do allow some air.
Can this manufacturer do your wood look on the occupied side and match the pergola on the unoccupied side? The reason I'm asking is because when I look at this image, what jumps out at me is that contrasting material.
Understood. Yep.
So if that was the same color as the pergola, I think it'd be
I'm sure we
better
could-
from my perspective.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm sure we could figure out a way to do that. I don't know the answer off.
Guy with the roller painting the other side.
Right.
Show me that.
Other than that, the dark color doesn't,
This guy right here.
I'm not tremendously opposed to it. I see your point. You're going to get shadows up there.
You will.
You know, on nice days, you'll have the louvers open, so you'll actually see sky through it, I would hope. The operator uses the expensive mechanical louvers that you're installing.
He's saying just change.
Yeah, just change.
Yeah,
that,
we'll
that side
figure a
to
way.
match the-
Understood.
Walk up there and be like, "Boop."
Understood. A
Open
good
it up.
catch. That's a good catch, actually.
I appreciate that you've reduced the amount of pergola. I know those things are ridiculously expensive, so
Extremely expensive.
doing the whole thing is probably counter to your budget problem, but I think reducing the length of it, helps mitigate its impact on the street below.
Agreed. We put a lot of thought into the footprint of that pergola, working with our food and beverage consultant, our operations team, the architectural team, covering what needed to be covered to really make that functional, get the most use out of that space for the most of the year. I mean, that's really important.
And are you doing the louvers in the same color as the frame of the pergola?
I believe
Yes.
we are. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there was.
I didn't quite follow, there's a modular building you're using? Did I understand that correctly?
I'm sorry, in what respect?
Jeff, can you clarify? Didn't you say something about a modular building that they're using up there? Maybe I totally misunderstood.
Modular pergola?
Pergola is
Yeah, the
a
pergola is
manufactured.
modular.
Yeah,
Okay. Great, thanks.
sure.
That's it.
John, I think we've pretty much covered everything.
Yes.
I guess I would just go back to, as we conclude, I would just go back to sort of where we started. We appreciate working with this commission, with all of you, these many, many months. And we're getting, I hope, to the end of this saga, to delivering something that we've been really looking forward to. I only ask that, again, consistent with the scheduled discussion, we arrive at a recommendation this evening. I would really ask that in order for us to continue to hit our schedule. I have to be in front of my board in December with a definitive representation of what's approved.
Okay. I didn't hear any discussion amongst us tonight that seemed to take issue with anything being presented, right?
Public discussion, if there is any. Ask if there's any public discussion.
Yes, I'm with you. Would anybody, you folks who are guests in the back, would you have any comments on this?
I do have one comment.
Please come up here to the podium so that Jeff can hear you and,
So
again,
the folks at
just-
home can hear you.
Sounds like a
And,
great.
and the folks at home, the three of them.
For sure. My name is Chris Eichenroth. I'm a resident of Easton. Recently bought a property just about 6 blocks outside of the historic zone. So I'm here to see what goes on here, maybe get some referrals. Sounds like a great project. I have a LEED Green Associate credential. Used to work a lot with the U.S. Green Building Council when I lived in Atlanta. I'm Pennsylvania, born and bred, moved back here about 15 years ago. So that's sort of a bit of context. Do a lot of renovations, but I'm not in business to renovate. So with that being the context, a couple thoughts I had in particular with your comments to the Battleship Gray. Now, granted, I haven't seen the structure very well, but has the trajectory of the sun been taken into consideration versus AM, PM? This is an east-west sort of orientation. So the sun is going to pass over that building. If you have a darker color, the sun is going to hit it in the morning. It's going to hit it in the afternoon. And if it's a lighter color, it's going to maybe have this gleaming effect. I don't know how tall your building is, but with respect to the stated mission of the commission, I was just considering that perhaps a darker color at those times of day could offset a sort of gleaming effect with a particularly high building at sunrise coming with direct insolation. That albedo could, depending on your orientation in the city, be an annoyance perhaps. I think it's a great point. I just thought of that as I'm sitting here just observing, but I thought I would register that idea since it occurred to me. And then second, I've seen it on, probably it's like Modern Marvels type of TV show, but in respect to the pergola, there are, at least probably 15 years ago, innovative camouflage systems using lighting that match the ambient lighting to help disguise like an object of artillery or something on a hilltop. but there are ambient lighting systems maybe in an architectural setting that then could match the ambient lighting to, in a sense, camouflage a structure that's would otherwise be exposed. Don't know if that's relevant, but I know there are lighting systems that can match daylight. So that might be something that could consider if you ran into that. But otherwise, pleased to be here. We'll ask a couple questions just personally, since I've bought a structure just outside the zone, but that's my input.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Does anybody feel like they could make a motion for us?
Yeah, I got you covered.
Thank you.
All right. Motion to approve the alternate brick color and accent brick color as presented. And if you'd share those with Jeff after the meeting, so he has them for the minutes, I'd appreciate it. Motion to approve the use of thin brick on the upper levels with returns at the windows, so we're preserving the depth. Motion to approve the composite monumental masonry shapes and the thinner monumental masonry veneer at the base of the building. Motion to approve the ephes shapes at the windows for the sill and head. The finish of those will match the finish of the cast stone at the base. Motion to approve the substitution of the wood look metal panels under the porte cochere with ephes, as well as the metal panels on the vertical edges of the porte cochere and canopy. And I'm assuming these wood look boards will be applied to both the underside of the canopy and the porte cochere.
Yes.
Correct. You did say that.
Apologies.
I'd say vertical joints as at locations shown on the reflected ceiling plans and maximum 10-inch width boards for the wood look beneath the canopy. Motion to approve the glass railing at 3 feet above the parapet, AKA 4 feet above the walking surface of the roof patio. And motion to approve the pergola as presented and discussed with the reduced footprint. Colors on which wall? On the wall on the end of the pergola?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so the only caveat to the approval of the pergola is
Correct.
that the exterior finish as seen from the street will be consistent and we won't have a contrasting
Correct.
eastern wall.
Correct.
I think that ties it in a bow.
We have a second on this.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Let's put to a vote. Craig?
Aye.
Desiree?
Aye.
Aye here.
Aye.
Mike? Okay, very good. Motion carries and.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for all your time and effort. And we have a motion to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes as submitted.
Okay, second,
Oh, I'll second that.
Desiree. Okay, any,
Aye.
aye. Any new business or old business for that matter?
None for the record.
Doesn't look like it. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, very good. Thank you, everyone.
I think I have one unrelated question. I've noticed that they've had a lot more of these like vertical signs off of buildings. They're doing it on the Central.
right.
I mean, we don't have any.
Because they're very big.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't. I don't think we've had any. At least I don't remember